Thank you for getting up this morning to chat with me. How are you doing? How are you holding up in the quarantine and everything, and your family? How's it going?
I'm good now. I mean, if I have to be honest, I was not good at the beginning. It was incredibly difficult. I think it happened so quickly.
Yeah.
And there were so many questions, and we didn't know how long we were going to be in quarantine, and it was really scary. And then on a different side, I have two young boys. I share custody with my ex-husband, and so trying to entertain two young boys inside in Canada in March and April was a challenge for me. And they're used to going to school, and I'm used to going off to work, and it was difficult. But I think the thing that was the nicest part about it is it really forced us to start to create family traditions inside the house. And I now have a whole craft area. I built a paper mache solar system. We really started doing things together as opposed to going to the movies or doing activities that didn't make us together as a family. So if anything, I really kind of am thankful to COVID for giving me new tools as a mother.
You know what? I can just imagine. My boys are older now, so I was thinking back, like, what would I have done? But you know what? We adapt and we make it work. And at the end of the day, you can't look at it as a negative. It's a positive, when you could spend that kind of time with your children, I think.
Well, I was saying to a friend, I wrote an article for the kit with mothers of young children because it really was a struggle, and I wasn't really seeing these stories or people being honest about it online. It was more like, look at how much bread I can bake, and everything is lovely. And I was like drinking at 1:00 in the afternoon, just waiting for the night to come. And so just being honest about how difficult it was helpful. But just going back and saying that all we would ever complain about working moms is that we don't have time.
Yeah.
And we have this time now, so use it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's get started because there's so much to talk to you about. Obviously, we're here to talk about Becky. And I have to ask you, Amanda, first off, we don't see you in a lot of horror, like these kinds of films, that's for sure. I mean, The Handmaid's Tale is a whole other different kind of horror that we'll talk about after. But this was just like on the edge of your seat and just so brutal. And I wanted to know what your initial reaction was to the script and why you were so interested in being in something like this.
Well, it's always was sort of a bucket list thing. I've never been in a genre movie like this, and I really like stretching myself and being in comedies and drama and different kinds of sci-fi. And I really want to experience all of it, all of the sides of playing very different characters in different genres, and learn from that experience and see what it's like. On a personal note, my father had passed away 3 weeks before, very unexpectedly, very, very suddenly. 3 weeks before I was offered the film, and I was incredibly distraught. And I read the script and realized I have a month to just go and run and scream and punch things in the woods.
Yes.
So that's really what drew me to it. Also, in this film, the two women, I'm not trying to spoil anything, but the two female characters in the film are the ones who sort of survive everything.
Yes.
And I loved that I only will play strong women. And so I loved that the two females were the ones that were the heroes at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I that's what I really enjoyed about it too, in terms of the power that the women held in this. And for you, we were just saying, being a mom, you spend most of the time sitting on the couch with the young boy who plays your son. And so I can't imagine, Amanda, that, it's a movie, we know everything, you get off the couch, cut, you're done. But how do you not be a mom and use that in playing someone like her?
Yeah, well, that's another reason I took it, is because I don't really play moms on TV, which is strange. But I was really drawn to being able to sort of use my experience as a mother and to sort of suspend my imagination into how I would act, especially because the little boy who was cast looks almost identical to my eldest son.
Yeah.
And so there really wasn't much acting. There really wasn't much of a stretch. And I was asked earlier if it was difficult to just stay in one spot, and it was really lovely because I didn't have to remember blocking. I had my phone tucked behind me. I had coffee. It's just sitting.
Yeah.
but and our hands were, my hands and my feet were bound. But the hands, it was like a breakaway sort of prop bondage. But my feet were actually tied, and that really, really helped in getting going, especially for the emotional scenes. Because when they called cut, I couldn't get up, and they'd walk away, and I would be like, "Guys," but that really helped me feel oppressed and bound.
You never see Kevin James like this. Kudos to him for even taking on this role, because of course we all know him for his comedy, and he's such a nice guy. And oh my God, the role that he's playing. Listen, I don't even know where to go. What was it like to play against him like that?
It was lovely. I didn't know what to expect, and he's also a neo-Nazi, so I was like, how far are you gonna
oh God.
But he was nervous. He was honest about being nervous. He was vulnerable. He was open. He was willing to take any sort of feedback from everyone. And he was so generous with his compliments and so collaborative. He really, really was open about the fact that this isn't his forte.
Right.
He hasn't had a lot of experience in doing this. And so he really didn't have an ego about it and leaned on everyone and really tried to take all of the information he could. And I'm telling you, I was so impressed by his lack of ego.
Yeah.
I don't know what I expected. I didn't know if he was going to come in and try to pretend that he had it all, but he really endeared himself to everyone because he was so honest about, I don't know what I'm doing. I want to learn. And as we kept filming, his confidence grew, and it was beautiful to watch.
Yeah. And then Joe McHale plays your fiance in this. And, I've interviewed him many times. He's such a funny guy. So was he the kind of person that kind of broke the mood on the set and was always, or was everybody just in character? I don't know. I would think that you would need some kind of levity working on a film like this.
No, he was the class clown. He's so funny. He's so great. There were a couple scenes where we had to be dead serious, and we're coming in and we're trying to give each other eye contact, and I would just be like, "You little shit," because he's so funny, and he's just so warm and lovely to everyone. The mood on the set, I mean, sometimes we were obviously very much focused, but no one was in character all of the time.
Sure.
And I think because I've done, enough heavy material, Room and Handmaids, the more difficult the material, usually the lighter the set.
I would think so. Yeah, you would have to need it. You'd go nuts if you didn't have something to break it up, for sure. What are your thoughts about Lulu? Oh my God, she is like, first of all, the horror. She's becoming the new scream queen, I think, right?
I know. Lulu is, to me, she is one of the best actors I've ever acted opposite.
Wow.
I was so blown away by her that there were a couple times where I was like, are you mad at me? Are we fighting? She's so serious and focused and committed, and she's just talented. She's just gifted. She just has it. And she's such a sweet little girl, very intelligent. And I loved the idea that the heroine in this film is 13.
Yeah.
Because I have young kids. I really think that I don't think a lot of young kids should watch it, but I do think it'll help parents realize that their kids have big emotions and feel things and can get angry. And while they may not grab a stack of pencil crayons and do something bad, she just shows the angst and the hurt and the ferocity that children have that we don't see a lot in films.
Yeah. I've been a fan of yours for so many years. And I first off, I want to congratulate you on your Canadian Screen Award that you just got recently for your performance on Kim's Convenience. How much fun do you have working on a show like that, and then to be recognized like this?
Oh my gosh. It's Kim's Convenience is my beloved. It's my favorite. We have so much fun that I was just saying before, I can't believe I haven't been fired, because there is not one time during a take that I can get through the whole scene. And so now they know, season 4, that they just cut around me because they give up. They're like, you're not going to get through it. Yeah. Paul, who plays Appa, and we're frenemies, and we have this ongoing sort of history of teasing each other, but we will go out of our way on purpose to try to make the other laugh during their coverage. Like, it's just, it's a circus. And I love the idea that it's a show with a bunch of people of color, but people around the world just recognize it as their own family. Like, it just goes to show how we're all of the same. All of our families are crazy. We all have insane dynamics with our family, and regardless of color, this is exactly how family units work. So I think that that's really allowed a lot of people to see into the Korean community in a way that they wouldn't have before. And then just being, getting the award for it was just, I was shocked. I was so happy. I beat Dan Aykroyd. So he
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, my friend. That's amazing.
Dan, suck it. I don't know him. I'm kidding. I don't know him. But I just, she means so much to me, and the writers give me so much freedom. Pastor Nina is just me as a 9-year-old girl. And so they just let me sort of go. It's lovely to have that amount of freedom.
Yeah. Well, we can't leave without talking about The Handmaid's Tale, which I'm so obsessed with. Like, I cringe for it. Like, every week I'm like, I can't wait. And now, of course, with the pandemic, I mean, everything has stopped, and you can't go back to shooting until everybody's ready to go back. But wow, that last finale, I mean, I don't care. Spoiler alert, people. Rita gets her freedom in Canada. I broke down. Like, God, we could talk for 3 hours about The Handmaid's Tale and what it means to people. But to work on a show like that, growing up, you know, being Canadian, first of all, and to do something that Margaret Atwood is affiliated with, that already is probably top of your list.
Yes.
I would think.
Yeah. I've had a relationship with the book since I was 15. I wrote a series of short stories, and I got a scholarship for it. And then in university, I didn't know if I wanted to be an actor or a writer. And so I wrote my thesis, my application to get into the screenwriting program on The Handmaid's Tale, on Rita.
Wow.
20 years.
I never knew that. Wow, that's amazing.
And I received a full scholarship, and I've been obsessed with the book since. So the reason I got the audition, the casting director, the Canadian casting director here, I've been talking about the book for 20 years and trying to give copies of it to people. And she called me and said, listen, sorry, my son just came downstairs.
That's okay.
She said, listen, The Handmaid's Tale is auditioning in Canada. You're not going to get the part. I just want you to be able to come in and say the lines. And so I came in and said the lines, and I got Rita.
Oh, you're so good in that role. And just working opposite people like, you know, Elizabeth Moss. Okay, unbelievable. But, you know, Joseph Fiennes, Yvonne Strahovski, like, it's such a class act cast, and it's done so well, and we're so proud that it's all shot here in Toronto. Like, so
proud. And being, I mean, I say that they've ruined me for life, because everyone brings their A game, and I think that amount, it's not competitive, it's like a competitive against ourselves, because everyone is bringing our A game. It inspires us to do better and better and better. And when you're acting opposite actors like that, you have no choice but to up your game every time. And how much it's helped me in other roles, and how I prepare, and how I go about doing the work. It's an art form to them. It's not just showing up and doing your job. So it's changed my life.
Oh, I'm sure. Listen, you're fantastic in it, and you're so good in everything that you do. So congratulations on all of your success. People can see or get video on demand, Becky, and I think some drive-in theaters are now going to show it, from what I understand. So that's this is a perfect film for drive-in.
Perfect film for drive-in. You can scream in your car, and you're not in your house. Great.
Exactly. You know, your popcorn can go all over the place, and who cares if it gets on the person next to you? Doesn't matter. Well, Amanda, thank you so much for your time. It's such a pleasure to talk to you, and just stay safe with your family and be well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.